Welcome to the G3X Podcast, where it's all God, Gym Grind Unfiltered. This is episode 25 of the podcast. Special guest today. Here we have Christina. Super excited to have her. Christina, how are you doing today?
I'm excited. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad we got the chance to connect with each other.
For sure. No, definitely excited to have you on board. Thank you for willing to be part of this podcast. To the audience listening, I connected through Christina here through as almost every single one of my guests in the podcast through social media, Instagram, and Threads. I saw her journey. I'm like, hey, this is super cool seeing everything that she's done. She even has her own clothing brand, which I connect with super heavy, that kind of entrepreneur grind lifestyle, as I like to say, and her own fitness journey as well. So I was like, hey, you want to be on the podcast? And she was like, let's do it. And here we are now. But Christina, let me not steal your thunder, for the audience who might not be aware of who you are. Tell us where you're from, what you do, and what you got going on, and we take it from there.
Okay, yeah. Like you already said, my name's Christina. Right now, I'm living in Florida, trying to live my best beach life. But I grew up in New Jersey, so excuse the accent, whatever else you get from this right now. But yeah, grew up in New Jersey, played almost every sport you could think of: basketball, softball, taekwondo, kickboxing, boxing, soccer, pretty much everything.
Wow, everything, literally.
Yeah, literally everything. Whenever I didn't play, it's because it clashed with another season of that sport.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
yeah, I did that, and then kind of got into coaching the teams as I got older. They kind of have an age cap on. They're like, okay, I'd be 16, 17, 18-ish. So started coaching some of the younger leagues as I got older. And then eventually moved out of New Jersey, joined the Navy. Obviously, when I joined the Navy, kind of took a step back from all the sports life, had a bigger role to do. And that put me in a very weird position because I was always athletic. I was always someone who wanted to exercise, but I feel like it's a very different dynamic being on a team with people and kind of having someone tell you, like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go run these laps versus now, you're out in adulthood, you're in a career, and you're trying to learn how other people exercise without being on a sports team. So it kind of
I
left me
see.
out in the middle of nowhere. I was like, well, what do I do? Yeah. So I would say I probably went a couple years, maybe 3, 4 years without really exercising. I would go run on a track from time to time because that's what I knew. And then I hit the wall one day. I was just really depressed, really down in the dumps. And I looked into strength training. And I really looked into it. And I looked into CrossFit as well. And I fell in love with it. I took on my own coach at the time. I learned how to strength train. I learned all about like healthy eating, trying to get away from fad diets. I fell in love with CrossFit because it gave me that competition again, that team
Nice.
energy again. Um, yeah, and then I just fell in love with all of it. And I kind of figured out on my own. I was like, I was always an athlete. And then I got into the gym. I just didn't realize that you can be an athlete in the gym still. Like you never really grow up out of it.
Right.
So I learned more. I learned how to coach myself in the gym. I learned how to do CrossFit. I learned actual breakdown nutrition so I could help others. Because, like I said, I graduated college, high school, all that sports life, ended up in a position where I had nothing to do. So I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's thousands of other people out there. They lose that team and they're like, what do I do now? So
Right.
I moved forward. I learned how to coach, and now I do one-on-one coaching, personal training with online clients. I do nutrition or just like workouts only, and kind of moves down the realm of a lot of the other stuff you talked about, entrepreneurship with my own business, my brand, and a mouthful of other things.
I love it. No, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. There's so many cool things there that I would definitely want to get into. But let me ask you the following, actually. Given your whole, as you mentioned, you like sports, you basically tried everything there on the board. Super cool. What eventually then drove you to like join the Navy? Did you have like family that were also part of it or something, or just something that you always wanted to try? Like, what sparked that interest from sports to the Navy?
I did. I kind of came from a military family. I don't call myself a military brat because I didn't move around. But my grandfather was Navy, my great grandfather was Navy, my uncle was Army, my
Wow.
cousin was Navy, my other uncle was Air Force. So it was always a matter of joining the military. It was just what branch.
Mm,
And I felt like the military, has that community role to it, that community feeling, like you're a part of something. you're out in the world doing something. And the whole sports thing and being on the team, one of my favorite things apart it was all the traveling we would do. Go upstate for games, go over to another state for games, and nothing's gonna move you around more than the military.
Yeah, 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 true. Now, would you say like with your experience there in the military as well in that aspect, would you say as of right now, let's say some of your own discipline, be it in the gym and your fitness journey, would you say maybe any of that experience in the Navy also helped like shape maybe your current mindset about training or wellness? Or how would you say if there's any connection between that or two totally different things in your perspective?
No, 100% connected. I think within my first year of the Navy, even when I was kind of going through my own struggles with stuff, I became a assistant fitness instructor. And then now I'm actually a qualified fitness instructor for the whole command. So
Nice. Wow.
I went to the classes, I learned the ropes of not only like normal everyday life fitness and nutrition, but I learned the Navy's version of it as well. So 100% goes hand in hand. And I think being in the position where I was working a more difficult job with long, tough hours, restraints on what you can do, where you can do it. I mean, I've been stationed on a ship. You can only do so much on a ship.
Right. Wow.
I think it's given me a lot of knowledge to help other people in everyday life. And I think it's made me a little bit of a hard ass on people, which I think they sometimes need because we all love to hear the excuses.
Yeah, sometimes people just need that like push, like come on, like not something soft, but like something hard, right?
And it's not a, my life is harder than your life situation. Everyone has their own challenges, but sometimes it's that eye opener like you're tired. Okay, bud. Well, I've done 18-hour days in 120-degree heat and then gone to the gym afterwards. I'm
Oh my
sure you
God.
could go to the gym after your 8-hour shift in the AC.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Like
so true.
that's where that discipline comes in. It's just tough love sometimes. It's not belittling, but it's tough love. So I think the Navy definitely it taught me that discipline. It taught me you're
Nice.
not always gonna have the motivation to do things you want. But you're always gonna have discipline.
Yep, yep. And we hear that a lot, especially, both of us were a lot in the content creation space, posting content and everything. We see that a lot, right? That a lot of people talk about, hey, discipline over motivation and this and that. But it's one thing to say it and then one thing to like actually practice it and live it. Cause hey, anyone can quickly do a little post with just a little caption. Hey, this but doesn't mean, the actions speak louder than words, as we've all heard that saying, right? It's
100%.
like, hey, we know if you're doing it by your actions more than just saying it. But I love how you said that, like, hey, when you were stationed on the boat, because it makes it, how would you say it, practical, if that's the right word to use. But in the set, what I'm trying to say is that, hey, there's no excuses. Wherever you are, you can find some way or some form to stay in shape or be fit or that sort of things, like you were saying, like, hey, there's only so much you can do in a boat, but you still did some kind of like training or fitness or anything, where so other people are like, well, there's no gym nearby, and then that's it. It is like, hey,
Yeah.
you were on a boat and you still made it happen, in a sense. I think that's epic,
First time I ever tried CrossFit, I was in Bahrain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I wasn't even in America. One of my friends was going to the CrossFit classes. They had free classes on base. And I just remember thinking, I'm like, dude, like, you know how hot it is outside? I'm like, I don't want to go do this. And he kept talking about it. I was like, all right, I'm going to try it. And it was the best move I could have done. I mean, I fell
There
in
you
love
go.
with it.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Like I look back myself, I remember, let's say, connecting your story to that. When I first started into the fitness, it was actually kind of like my uncle who kind of got me a little like intrigued by it. Initially, I was like, that typical, like, you're kind of intimidated by the gym or this and that. You're like, ah. And then, but he kept like, hey, let's keep going, let's keep going. And, now is looking back, now the gym is like a part of my like daily lifestyle. So it's always cool seeing those friends or people that push you to do something where you're initially like, nah, I don't want to do that. And then you look back, you're like, hey, you know what? That action now is a daily lifestyle of mine. And who would have thought, right?
Yeah. That's why I love some of my female clients because exactly what you said. I've had so many women come to train with me and they're terrified to go in the weight section.
Oh, wow.
And I think as we both know, like women in the weight section, like strength training has so many health benefits,
For
especially
sure.
to women. And to see so many women still scared to go into that realm, it makes me sad for them because I'm like, just if you do it, you're gonna love it. And
Yeah.
every single client I've had take my advice and go to the gym and do the exercises, they fell in love with it. They're like, what's my next workout? What am I doing? Like, I went up in 5 pounds today. I went up in 10 pounds in weights today.
Heck yeah.
And it's like a whole new person broke out of their shell.
I love that. No, that's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of fitness. And I want to get into that a little bit deeper into it as well. I think it's super cool. But before getting into that, one other aspect that really caught my eye in your whole like introduction, and I think people can really connect with this part. And I want to make it like provide as much value to the audience listening to this podcast, and feel free to elaborate as much as you want to share, of course. I know you talked about initially like falling into like that type of depression after leaving sports, and then that's how you found that lifting CrossFit. Talk to me a little bit about that, because I mean, we've all, not maybe not all of us, but many of us have experienced some kind of, let's say, either like mental battle, sadness, heartbreak, whatever the case may be, that we try to find some kind of, let's say, outlet. You know, some people go into like drugs or alcohol or this and that. Other people like ourselves, let's say, we found it through, let's say, the gym or fitness, etc. So talk to me a little bit about that, like that at like that, let's say, era of that depression. What were you kind of like going through mentally, and then how that lifting CrossFit helped you, like, in a sense, overcome that and escape that aspect.
Yeah. So, I think it was probably about 3 years straight where I was really struggling and it felt like it was only getting worse. And, complete disclosure, complete honesty, I was drinking a lot. I used to smoke. And so I was smoking a lot. I was going to work. I felt very alone in my life. And it wasn't that I didn't have people there. It just, I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere. So it just made it worse. You just continue to feel more and more empty and by yourself. Yeah, I mean, that was probably one of the worst times in my life, if I'm being honest, because I didn't have any outside factor to go to.
Oh wow.
So that was tough. Yeah, I mean, I could go down a whole rabbit hole of all the stuff that went wrong then. But once I think the big game changer was I started looking in the mirror at myself every day, and I was like, this is not who I am. I don't want to be an alcoholic. I don't want to be a drinker. I don't want to smoke. I don't like any of this. And this is who people see me as now. They see me as the girl that smells like nicotine and cigarette smoke. And why would I want to be known for that? And like I said, I used to be a boxer, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I was weak. I was so weak. And it just hit me one day. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, if somebody came up to me, my family, someone I loved or cared about, could I even protect them anymore? Could I do anything? I'm weak. I'm an embarrassment to myself. So I really took a good look in the mirror, which I think a lot of people are afraid to do because they know big change is going to come and they might not be ready for it. Like I said, it took me 3 years. It took me 3 years to finally open my eyes. But when I did, I mean, it just whole new person. So I took on a coach, and I feel like kind of like a lot of people, I fought her back and forth on things. I wasn't seeing the results right away. And she actually told me a couple months in, she's like, Christina, you're not following the program. I don't want to keep taking your money if this isn't going to get anywhere. And she's like, I really want to help you, but you have to listen. I was like, you're right. And I was wasting my own money and I wasn't doing anything for myself. I was still being miserable. So I finally, I took her tough love and I started putting in the work. I ate the food I was supposed to eat and I started going to the gym. I lost, I mean, I think I had been up to 160, 165 pounds just fat. Cause like I said, I wasn't strong anymore. I lost 15 pounds in like 2 months because I stopped drinking. I cold turkey stopped smoking. A lot of people are like, oh, you have to vape or you have to buy the gum or you have to do, no,
Just
stop
stop it.
eating chicken and just cut it out. It's cold turkey. Anything you do in your life, like I feel like is a cold turkey situation. You're either going to do it or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
These
Mm-hmm.
baby steps of things, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of my time, your time, and again, that might be tough love, but that is the reality. You don't need the training wheels to do these things because that's what I did. I threw away all the training wheels. I took her on. I did my training with her. I felt great. I then moved to Bahrain and started doing CrossFit. I met a community that I now felt like I belonged to, and it was a whole new world for me.
That's beautiful. That no,
Yeah, I
that's a
mean,
beautiful story. Wow. And I think it really I love how you mentioned that. I think we all everyone has to experience, for lack of a better word to use, the kind of like that rock bottom in a sense of like
exactly.
until you acknowledge the fact or recognize that, hey, I don't want to be known as, let's say, the girl who smells like nicotine, or I don't want to be continually doing this action until someone really realizes that, then it's like sad to say, is like there won't be a change until that person realizes it. You know what I mean? And like I've been in that situation before a while back, going through like certain emotional type of heartbreak stuff where it's like, hey, you know what? I don't want to be like sad all the time. Like this is kind of lame. This is like
Yeah.
lame. Like let's do
I
something
feel like
else with life.
I feel like the best thing that anyone can do is they need to find like a really, really tough goal. And you hear from a lot of famous influencers, famous athletes. I'm trying to remember exactly how the quote goes, but they're basically saying, you know, if your goal doesn't seem hard, it's the wrong goal. Your goal is supposed to be hard. It's supposed to feel unattainable because it's supposed to be something that you can pour your whole heart and mind into. That's how you get over these bad habits. That's how you do the cold turkey stuff. And that's what I did. I had a goal for myself. I had an unrealistic, I wouldn't even say unrealistic. I would just say I had a hard long term goal, something I really wanted to do. And I knew I was going to have to start grinding for it. And that's what I did. So everything became about getting to this goal. My diets, what I ate, like, and I missed out on stuff. Like, but I don't regret that because you have to prioritize. You gotta pick what you want in life. You gotta pick your poison. Did I miss the parties? Yeah, but I had already decided, like, I didn't wanna be the party girl. So did I really miss anything?
Right. Yeah.
I got on my runs. I went to the pool on my days off and swam. I lifted every single day, like, because I had this huge goal. It took me 3, 4 years for it to even come into play. So I think that's what a lot of people need to do. They have to realize it's not gonna be easy, and it shouldn't be easy. If it's easy, wrong goal. Pick another one.
Yeah.
Pick
Yeah.
another one. You're wasting your time.
Yep, yep, yep. No, facts. Facts. You're speaking facts. And I also love the fact that people should also recognize it takes time, right? It's not something like, hey, in 1 week, I know now in society nowadays, everyone wants something like super quick. But
Mhm.
hey, fitness, gym, etc., that all takes time. Like you said, it took you like 3, 4 years, but you made it happen. And as you talked about earlier as well, that discipline aspect, being disciplined to what you want to achieve. I know there's this one person that I like listening to a lot, Alex Hermosi, who's more like business and entrepreneurship, but
Okay.
he talks a lot about like goals and ambition. And he's like, hey, exactly what you were saying. Like if your goals aren't something that's like scaring you or something, then hey, like go for higher in a sense. And it's very true
Yeah.
because that's where, like, if you want to achieve something, like you want to live, like the way he puts it from a business perspective, but it's like if you want to live a 1% life, then you have to do things that the 99% aren't doing. And it's like so true. It's
I love
easier
that.
said than done, but it's like, hey, if you want to achieve something big, then like you were saying, don't expect to, there's sacrifices to have be made. It's like another example he uses, like again with the business, like, oh, all my friends wanted to hang out, like let's say watch the football game on Sunday, but I would stay, home working and whatever. And I would say to myself, a year from now, would I remember that football game, or would I remember that I'm not where I'm supposed to be with my goals, or I'm not closer where I should be with my goals? And it's like, wow, that really hit me, because it's like so many things in the short term, that like parties or this and that. Hey, nothing wrong with that, obviously. But it's just like you were saying, if you have specific goals, you have to acknowledge that sometimes to achieve specific big goals, at the end of the day, such is life, there's certain sacrifices to be made. There's nothing wrong with that, but just know what you're getting into and don't look back, just keep going forward, right?
Yeah. I mean, 100% agree with that. I'm currently reading Tia Toomey's book, a world renowned CrossFitter. I mean, I I can't remember 5 or 6 championships. Like,
Oh,
this
wow.
woman's an absolute monster. Anyone who knows her, she's fantastic. But I'm reading her book, and in the first couple pages of the book, the first thing she says, she's talking about how she wants to be a runner. She wants to get better at running, better at track. And she has this goal set up for herself. And her mom tells her, okay, but when your friends ask you to hang out on the weekend, you're going to have to tell them no. Like, it's not, people aren't individuals. Like, this is the across the board rule for everyone. Like, everyone probably looks at Tia Toomey now, they're like, champion. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, she was, I think, 11 years old when she started that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was not different from anybody else.
Yep, it's
So
true. It's
I
like
think that's just
people,
something.
like let's say in the world of bodybuilding now, like C-bum, like everyone wants to be C-bum, but
Yeah.
like, you know how many years and like sacrifice, and he's talked a lot about in his videos. I mean, he has a kid, he has a wife, and so many times, certain sacrifices where he couldn't spend time with them or this and that, you know.
People talk about, oh, I need 8 hours of sleep. Sleep a little faster. Sleep a little I love that. Sleep a
I,
little faster.
I like that. That's so good. Yeah, so true. No, it's true. It's true. It's true. It's like sometimes I guess we could say we get a little complacent, a little comfortable. Yeah, no, and 100%. And connecting to what you were saying is like, like for example, right now everyone wants to be like Sebum. And it's like, hey, you know how many years Sebum put into all that? And like he has a wife, he has a kid, and he even talks about a lot in his videos of the sacrifices he's made. So it's not easy, and you just got to know what you're sacrificing it. And in the end, if you really want those goals, it's going to be worth it. But
Yep.
in the short run, just get used to people not understanding you. They're not going to get it. And that's fine. They don't need to get it, because the only one who really needs to understand is yourself, your own why. And that's it. And you keep moving on.
Yeah. When I was my last command, I was out in Japan for 2 years, and that was like my prime time when I was really, really getting after this goal. And I had just moved there, so I didn't have anybody at this point like I did in Bahrain, my friends to work out and train with. So I was in Japan and I set up my own schedule. I used to wake up, no lie, I used to wake up every single morning at 4 a.m. I would leave my house by 4:30. I was at the gym by 5 a.m. I would lift from 5 till either 6:30. I would go to work by 7. At 8:30, I would leave work, go to the pool, swim for an hour, come back to work again until 4 o'clock, get done work, go on a 3 to 6 mile run, and then go coach one of the local teams, then go
Wow.
home and repeat the next day.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then on Saturdays, if I didn't have to cover down for work, I would go to the base anyway and go do some kind of hit workout, some kind of a long run, some long training drill, hop in the pool with some friends and practice like towing them, dragging them, treading, and anything crazy to get up and moving. I mean, it was 24/7, like go, go, go. And then on Sundays, my rest day, I was taking on clients. I was talking to
There you
clients on
go.
trying to
The
do the whole
hustle.
international stateside of Japan timeline.
Wow, wow. Now that's what we call real hustle and real grind. I like that's amazing. Wow, wow. No
Yeah, like
excuses.
yeah, I mean, I had a community in Bahrain. It was awesome. I built a community in Japan by what I did. But like you said, a lot of people don't get it. You have to know your why. You have to know your reason behind it. A lot
Yep.
of people at work, they'd be gonna go, oh, well, we didn't invite you because we didn't think you'd eat a pizza. I'm like, I'll eat a pizza sometimes, man. They thought you were nuts. They'd make jokes like, oh, what do you do? Work out 10 times a day? I'm like, pretty close.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. It's like, and we've experienced it at probably one point or another where, like, I have a friend of mine who, when she started her own fitness journey, her fitness page and everything, like there were people who like doubted her. Hey, you're crazy, you're dumb, whatever. And then she ended up blowing up on Instagram. She has like, I don't know, like 60K, 70K followers now. She blew up. And so many people are now like, oh, how did you do that? The same people who were like back then, like doubting her and this and that, like now they're like, oh, how'd you do this? I want to learn. It's like, well, you weren't there for my come up. Why are you gonna be now? And what, so it's true. People will always doubt you until you achieve whatever it is that you said you were gonna achieve, and then they may come for you like looking for help or whatever. But such
Yep.
is life. It is what it is, and that's why you just gotta stay locked in on
Yep.
why you're doing it. So true.
And it's awesome to hear with people like her story that worked out so well for her. That's
Yep.
fantastic.
Yep, yep, yep. And all I know is that the future's bright for her, because she's also same thing, locked in. with coaching, her business, clients, fitness, training, everything. So it's just like, oof, stay with that focus, and only God knows where you're gonna go in the future. So yeah, super dope for her. Yep. Now, let me ask you the following here as well. Something that really got me going. Connecting it back to, let's say, your coaching, as you said, as you mentioned, now you're doing like coaching, that fitness aspect. Talk to me a little bit about that. Like, let's say, from a coaching perspective, I always like to, whenever I have people on that have like a coaching background, I always like to ask them, like, hey, your focus, I'm assuming, that your main focus are probably like women, client, like coaching women in fitness, getting into fitness, etc. So building on that, what would you say from your experience coaching has been, let's say, three very common misconceptions of, within your clients of, like, women getting into fitness, some three common misconceptions that you're like, hey, women normally think this or this and that. I know you touched a little bit on it before, like when it came to like the strength training and how important it is, and some women being like intimidated by it. But what are some other things that you have seen in that aspect that any women listening to this could be like, in a sense, reassured, like, hey, that's not the case. That's a misconception. Don't fall for that lie or anything of that sort.
Okay, yeah. So I can definitely touch on some of the stuff with the women, but crazy enough, I think I've probably had about 50-50 clientele.
Oh,
I
dope.
train a lot of men as women as well.
Dope, dope.
And that's actually a common misconception I've seen. I know a lot of guys don't want to train with a woman coach
Mm.
because, either like the anatomy breakdown is different or we kind of idolize people. So even with the women, what they idolize, I've had women send me, and this would probably be the biggest misconception. I've had women send me pictures of their favorite influencer, and they're like, I want to look like this. And they're like, I want, a big peach, snatched waist.
Yeah, yeah.
So bringing that in, the biggest misconception is like really narrowing down on your goal. So with men and women, they'll say, I want this, I want that, and they counteract each other. So that would be, I think that's probably the largest conversation I have with all of my clients is what is your very specific goal for right now? Because you're telling me you want a big peach, you want a little waist. Well, one causes a surplus in your diet and one causes a deficit.
No.
You physically can't do both.
No.
Now you tell me you wanna tone up your glutes while you lose weight to have that snatched waist. Absolutely. Completely possible, realistic. Trying to think of some other misconceptions because I really feel like that one is one I dive in on that a lot.
That's true.
I would say another thing, probably less of a misconception and more of just like a misunderstanding in the gym,
Hmm.
is the breakdown of a working set and how to actually lift weights there.
Mm.
So, and that's probably the problem behind a lot of these 30-day programs. They give you a breakdown like, okay, 3 sets of 10 reps. So people go in and say we're doing dumbbell curls. They go in, they pick up their fives, that's 1 set. Maybe I pick up some 7.5s, that's 2 sets. I pick up my 10s, my 3 sets done. And they leave the gym. They're like, I'm not breaking a sweat. I have no pump. I'm like, I know why. Like you didn't do anything. So I think that's probably the second most thing I deal with. Again, with men and women. I just spoke with one of my male clients the other day about it. He's like, "Oh yeah, I do my last set at 500 pounds for like leg press." I'm like, "What about the other four?"
Mm, yep, yep, yep.
So I think big misconception is believing those 30-day programs are really going to get you anywhere, and that goes back to what we talked about earlier in the podcast with quick results. Everybody
Exactly.
wants quick results, but you really just quickly wasted your money.
Hey, I love that. I love that, actually. No, it's so true.
It's a shame. Like it's a shame to see as a coach because if I was someone who wanted to take advantage of people, anyone could go and download and make these 30-day programs and sell them.
Right.
But you're scamming people. So I think that's a big thing for sure.
And what would you say also, let's say, within your coaching experience, also, like, let's say certain like misunderstandings, misconceptions, etc., building on top of that, and maybe similar to what you said, what would you say, like, very common beginner mistakes? Like, I know one is maybe like that, like something with the weights, but anything else you've also seen, like, hey, frequently made beginner mistakes that you're like, hey, you know what? People just starting into fitness, here are some useful tips that you don't fall into those same like mistakes that some people tend to fall in getting started into their journey or stuff like that.
I would say if you're gonna pick a program, if you're gonna start with a program, any program, I don't care whose it is, what you're doing, stick to it. A lot of people, again, they don't see those immediate results, or they'll see weight loss within the first week, and then it plateaus and they stop. Pick a program and stick to it. And regardless of what, like, if you decide to go with that 30-day thing, repeat it over and over. Hit the progressive overload with stuff. A lot of people will pick a program and say it's a 12-week program. They'll pick it and halfway through, they'll be like, oh, well, I want to try this now. And then they'll stop and they'll go to that. And then they'll try that. And then they find something else they want to go try and they try that. And it's great to be open minded. Like I said, I did everything, but one goal at a time. If
Right.
you pick a program that's set around this goal and you cut it off a quarter, halfway through the program, you're not going to get those full results because you're not finishing it. You have to finish the things you start. So I see a lot of people do that. I'll be a month, maybe 2 months into work with them, and they're like, well, this isn't working for me. Can we do something else? I'm like, no, we can't do something else because this is going to work for you if you're patient and you keep following it.
Right. Yep.
Especially with the weight loss. You will see people, they will usually lose weight, especially if they have a very unhealthy lifestyle already. They will lose 5, 7 pounds the first week. And then after that, they'll only lose half a pound, maybe a pound each week. And a lot of people get nervous about that. They get upset. They're like, how come I'm not losing weight anymore? But that is normal. You're not supposed to lose more than 1, maybe 2 pounds a week. Otherwise, you could be harming yourself. You could be harming especially women, you could be harming your hormones. I think that's even another huge misconception is if I eat less, I will be skinnier.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Oh my gosh, awful. So bad.
Yeah. Literally. Like you're starving yourself, and there's way better ways to do this.
Oh my, I'm telling you, first of all, how are you starving yourself? The way I love food. I had someone call me earlier today and they're going, are you eating again? I'm like, I am. Well, like you were eating earlier when I called. I'm like, I'm always eating. What's the problem?
Yeah, no, it's true, it's true. And especially once you get into like, let's say like tracking, and I know that's probably a little bit more advanced, maybe not for like beginners because it could be a little overwhelming at that point, possibly depending. But like I know sometimes when it comes to the tracking, is like, like I enjoy tracking, because it's fun. It's like seeing like kind of like when I say play with the numbers, not play like you like fake numbers, but like you play like, oh look, I could, have this kind of food that I enjoy eating. So then I adjust whatever your goals are, like you adjust some of your carbs or your fats or whatever. And then you can still have some foods you enjoy, but all within like the limits of what you're trying to hit per day, etc. So I find that kind of like fun. Like, that's what I say, playing with the numbers that you're like, hey, you know what? I can eat this. Okay. But now, meaning later today, I won't eat that or this and that. And I
Yeah,
find
you're
that kind
switching
of fun.
it
You're not,
around.
yeah. And also at the same time, very eye-opening where you realize like, holy crap, this food actually has this much fat or this much calorie. Like I had no idea and I have been eating this for a while. Okay, let me like cut it back on this and that,
I've had clients do that. So I've had, I'll call them potential clients. I've had potential clients that want to sign up with me. I've had them track their food for a week just so they could see with their own eyes, like, holy moly, this is what I've been eating. And all of a sudden they think that that fried chicken sandwich from McDonald's, they're like, well, it's chicken, it's protein. I'm like 10 grams protein, 50 grams fat.
Yo, facts.
I told one guy, I was like, you just ate your whole day's worth of fat in that
In
sandwich,
one
and it
meal.
wasn't even healthy fat.
Yo, facts. Like for me, I had cut it back, but I'm a big like Raising Cane's fan, right? I don't know if you've had Raising
Yeah.
Cane's before, and like I would get the Caniac combo. So the moment I searched that up to like track it the first day, I'm like, this thing is 1,800 calories. Are you freaking kidding me? With 100 and something grams of fat. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I still ate it, but then I was like, damn, like I should really not be eating this as much as I was eating it before. So I cut it back there. But it's like, if you don't track, you don't like, oh yeah, it's like your initial reaction, yeah, it probably has some fats because of the fries or this and that, but like, hey, this should be, let's say, healthy in the sense that, hey, it's a lot of chicken. It's like 6 pieces of chicken. This should be fine. But obviously, it's fried chicken plus the French fries plus the bread and the sauce. Now you got a bunch of all this extra fats that you probably didn't need. And then, like, that's it. Like, in one meal, half of your calories are gone or something.
I used to do the same thing with Wawa. Have you ever been to
Oh, yeah,
Wawa?
yeah. Wawa. I love Wawa. Oh, my God. That
Oh
place is
man, I love
fire.
Wawa.
Yes,
But yeah,
yes.
the first time I ever tracked, it was my favorite go-to breakfast for till I realized what it was. And I would get the pepperoni milk, and I'd get one of the custom made cappuccino mocha cappuccinos,
Hmm.
the frozen ones, and I
Yeah.
plugged it all in. And that one meal, I think it was 1,000 calories.
Sheesh.
I don't even remember. I don't want to remember how much sugar, how much
Yeah,
fat.
exactly. Right.
And I'm like, it's one drink and a sandwich, 1,000 calories
It's crazy. It's
with
crazy.
nothing nutritious.
Yep, yep. The more I started tracking, the more I'm like, you know what? I'm really just gonna be eating home. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really just gonna be eating home.
And I think that would be like the biggest advice I could give to people just starting out with nutrition dieting. Cause I do macro tracking for my
Mhm.
clients. And if they've never done it, I start them off and I tell them the only thing I want you to track is your calories and your protein. I don't even want you to look at fat and carbs. Set your protein limit, set your calorie limit. Because if you hit your protein limit, the rest of your calories will kind of fill in on their own.
Right.
So that would, for anyone starting out with like their nutrition and fitness goal, protein and calories only. Don't even look at because you're gonna stress yourself out.
Yeah.
I've
Facts.
been doing it for years and I still get a little overwhelmed. I'm like, what can I eat that has 7 carbs but 1 gram of fat? It's extreme, but it's based off your goal, what you want in life.
Right, right. No,
But if you're
100%.
just trying to, live a healthier lifestyle, make better choices, be smart about it, track your calories and your protein.
Yep.
And there's free apps for it.
Yeah, literally, literally. I use this app called Fat Secret. It's kind of like a weird name, Fat Secret, but like it's free and like it basically gives me everything that I need to like track. It has a huge library of data. The only thing that's paid if you wanted to actually create your own meal plans. I mean, they've been adding new features that I haven't really paid attention to it, but like back when I started using it, like the paid version basically was just if you wanted the app to create your own like meal plans for the day and stuff like that, but basically everything else is like free when it came to like all the scanning, creating your
And you
own
kind of
food.
learn how to do that on your own.
Yeah, 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 exactly,
I use
exactly.
my
So
Fitness Pal.
dope, nice.
It's completely free. The only thing you'd pay for is if you want to be able to scan like the label of something.
Right. Yep, yep, yep.
I'll just type it in, man. Like
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like now a few
I'm
extra
not paying for
seconds.
something I can do myself.
Yep, yep, yep. Exactly, exactly, 100%. But building on top of that, like when you're talking about the clients, people getting into it. Actually, Let me ask you. Let's say if there was two, let's say back-to-back questions, which would be one is like, what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone who like feels, let's say, kind of like stuck, maybe in their fitness journey or just in life from what you experience. And then the second kind of follow up, but not really follow up, would be like, if someone is looking for a trainer, let's say they wanted to hire you as a trainer, what would be like, hey, hire me as your trainer because of XYZ? What would that be? So kind of like those two little like back to back questions in a sense.
Okay. Sorry, I went a little
No, no
Dory
worries.
brain.
No worries. Take your time.
So if someone's kind of stuck with their fitness journey, I would suggest a couple things.
Okay.
I would either, the biggest, most helpful one, I would say, see if you can find a buddy. If you have, a girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, a local friend, see if they'll start doing something different with you. Hey, will you go on these jogs with me? Hey, will you go on this walk? Will you text me at this time? I'm going to the gym. Even with Apple Watches now. I've even done those challenges on the Apple Watch with my friends. I'm like, hey, I'm in a slump right now. Can we compete to see who can hit the most?
Those are fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Those
make
are
a little
fun.
bet out of it. Like, okay, like loser buys dinner this week. Or I think that would be the most helpful thing for anyone that's kind of in a plateau in their journey. Or find something new. Like I said, like if you've never tried CrossFit, go try CrossFit. Go to a Pilates class. Go try a spin class. Like go try anything. Like anything. it doesn't have to be in your comfort zone, and it probably shouldn't be if you're at a plateau.
Mhm.
Go play pickleball, like the most random thing you can go do. Find a volleyball match and go join them. Just try something different. So
No.
if you're stuck, if you're really stuck, like I think that would be the thing. Or find a competition. Find a really out there difficult competition and see how it feels for you. See what you can start training for. Ironman, anyone who's heard about Ironman, like you're getting
Yeah.
dedicated to this. So find something hard or decide that this year I'm gonna try and compete in the CrossFit games. Set a new challenge for yourself. So I think that would definitely be the best way to break out of a plateau. And then for your second question, as far as like training with someone like me, I've always told not even just my clients, I've always told everyone that's coming in my life, if you don't want to hear the truth, I'm not the person to come have a conversation with. I'm just not. So for anyone that is looking to work with a client, anyone who's looking to work with a coach, if you can't handle honesty, don't come to me because I'm not going to sit here and tell you like, hey, like keep doing what you're doing. It's working when it's not. Like if you're going up on the scale and we're not adjusting anything, we're not working on anything, and that's not your goal, then I'm not going to tell you you're doing a great job because you're not doing a great job.
No, it's true. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah. So I think a lot of coaches will sugarcoat things so they don't want to lose the client. And that's just not the point. Like if you're going to take people on, you have to have the right mentality behind it. And your reasons have to be because you want to help them. And I think that is what makes me such a good coach is I have so much passion for helping people. I even have women that I used to play on a softball team together with that have reached out to me to be their coach because they know what I went through. They know how I went from like the sports dynamic to now strength training and all this. And they're like, hey, you did it. Can you teach me how to do it? I think there's tons of people out there like that they want to do it. They just don't know how to. And I'm never going to steer you wrong. Like if I'm not meeting your expectations, you're not going to hurt my feelings by telling me that. 100% honesty goes both ways.
Mhm.
So, and yeah. And then I like to have fun. Like I like to have fun with it. If you want to do some off the wall shit, you want to train for the Ironman. All right, here's what we're going to do. Like plug and play time. Get ready.
Yep.
You want to learn how to swim? Like I got you. I spent hours in that pool, underwater, above water. Like, so I think that's another thing that makes me such a great coach is I have such a large diversity and like realm of knowledge because I've done so many off the wall random things.
Yeah, and I can definitely say, myself, that's something that you don't see in a lot of coaches, that's for sure. Having like that broad experience in so many aspects, I think that's super cool. Makes you kind of sets you apart from other people in that regard. So that's cool. Heck yeah. Now, let me ask you the following before, we wrap this up. Definitely talk to me there. I see your shirt. Love it. Nordic Fitness. Talk to me about that. What's all that about? My entrepreneur friend here with her brand. Talk to me about that.
uh, the Nordic Fitness is kind of a lot. It's a lot going into it. And I'm trying to narrow it down. Nordic Fitness is, sorry, tongue tied. I'm going to open my own gym. Like I'm at the point in my life where this is the goal I want. I want to keep helping people. I want to keep expanding. I want to keep expanding this knowledge and the feeling I have to others.
Nice.
And so I'm going to open my own gym and I'm
Heck
calling
yeah.
it Nordic Fitness.
Heck yeah.
So right now I'm trying to create my own line of clothing, workout attire, Nordic Fitness brand. That way
Love it.
people, when they come to the gym, they have something comfortable and powerful to wear, something that reminds them like, this is who I am. I'm strong. I'm tough. I am going to run through this. Like I'm unstoppable.
Love it. I
And
love
that's
it.
kind of what it is. So my last name is Olsen. Olsen's Norwegian. My family's Norwegian. And we always grew up joking around. We're like, oh, we're Vikings. Like we come from Viking lineage. But the more I look into it, I really just love the culture. I love the way they have this equal level to the men and women. And I don't necessarily mean not to get anything political, but purely when it comes to battlegrounds. You have the Vikings, you have the Warriors, you have the Shield Maidens. They are equal. They are fighting partners. They are strong. And that's what I want to represent. Like, there was no, I'm this, I'm that, or I'm a lifter, I'm a calisthenic, I'm a boxer, I'm a soccer player. They're all just warriors.
Love it.
Everyone is strong. Everyone has their own piece to the puzzle. And the goal is the same, to get out there and be tough, unstoppable people. And so that's what I want to bring into the gym. That's what I want to bring to my clients. That's what I want to bring to my brand, is just fierce, powerful, proud, unstoppable people.
I
Like,
love it.
we don't care about the mushy stuff. We don't care about the aesthetic. I don't have an aesthetic, man. Like, I know, especially amongst women, that's what gets things going, is you have to have this pretty aesthetic and whatever else is going on. Well, I like
Right.
mud.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Like, I like mud. I'm gonna flip some tires. I'm gonna cut my knees on the ground, because that's a warrior mentality.
Yeah.
So that's what the Nordic Fitness is. It's warrior brand. It's Viking driven. It's tough. It's men and women side by side, like going off to battle together.
Heck yeah.
That's what it's all about. Like, bringing each other up, treating each other the same, and just being strong, getting stronger, and building a confidence. There's no one left behind with it. So
Love it.
that's kind of a wrap into all of it. Yeah, like I said, like, this is gonna be my gym name. It's currently my clothing brand name, and this is gonna take over. Like,
Heck yeah.
it's something I care about, and this is my family. Like, my family, they're all wearing it already. They're all wearing
Nice.
it. I have people at my gym, awesome guys, coming up to me. They're like, I love Vikings. I love this. I love that. Like, they saw my shirt and they're like, can you order me one? I'm like, 100%. And they're great people. I told them how I'm opening my gym. They shook my hand on the spot. They're like, you let me know, I'll come work there.
Heck yeah, let's
'Cause
go.
I'm honest with people. This is what I stand on.
Nice.
I don't care about making some chain gym or anything. Like, this is going to be a family owned gym. It's going to be powerful, and it's meant for people to come in and leave a stronger, better, prouder person.
I love it. You definitely gotta let me know for the grand opening, so I'm there too. Supporting. Heck
100%.
yeah, I love it. I love it. No, that's awesome. No, heck yeah, no, go for it. I'm rooting for you. Like, that's even more empowering. The fact that, again, as I like to say here at G3X Fitness, God gym grind, especially that grind aspect. Like, hey, you're hustling, you put in the work as a coach, and now you want to open your gym. I love that whole entrepreneurship, like, hustle mentality. So I'm rooting for you. Whatever I can do to help, always feel free to reach out. Definitely. And it's recorded here on the podcast. It's like, anything you ever need, definitely reach out. We're out here to help each other out, build a community. That's what it's all about, and that's the beauty of these podcasts, social media, just connecting with people. So I love it. Christina, it's been so, so dope having you on this podcast. Truly, we talked about such awesome things from your journey into fitness, things you've overcome, training, coaching, and the whole entrepreneurship aspect. Loved it. If there was one more, let's say, final words of that advice that you would give to the audience, one final piece that you would leave the audience with, what would that be? And with that, we would wrap it up for today.
Just don't stop. Don't stop moving. Don't stop going. Like, just don't give up on it. Just keep pushing. Burn the ships. There's no turning back.
Love it. There you go. And you guys heard that here first on the G3X Podcast, episode 25. Thank you so much, Christina, for being a guest on this podcast. Really loved having you. It was awesome and an amazing conversation. If the audience wanted to find you on social media, what platforms are you on? Where can they follow you at? Both for you and your clothing brand.
You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Instagram. I'm on Threads. I don't have YouTube up and going yet, but I will be posting workout videos on there soon. But yeah, for now, TikTok, Threads, Instagram. Feel free to message me. I answer everyone back as soon as I can.
Beautiful. And what would be the handle for them to follow you?
So TikTok, it'll be under Christina Olsen Fitness. Instagram, it'll be Christina Olsen _fitness, and Threads, Christina Olsen Fitness.
Beautiful. Perfect. There you
I'm
guys go.
sorry, for the clothing brand, it'll be Nordic Fitness _LLC.
Perfect. There you guys go. And then for you, if you guys are listening to this on Spotify or YouTube or even Apple Podcasts, check it out on the description. All the information should be there. And again, appreciate everyone listening to this podcast. Thank you so much, Christina. Until the next time. And as we like to say here, God Gym Grind. Peace out, everyone. Have a good one.